Hello, everyone. The Anthony S. You are not alone. Today we have a guest that I believe is going to change the world. She currently works at Insight Data Science, coaching highly educated individuals. The soft skills that need to be part of the private industry world. From there, for them, the sky's the limit. Lacey, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Anthony. I'm excited to chat.
Awesome. So I'm going to just jump right into some questions here because I think that's going to be what truly inspired me to do this. First, we'll start off just to explain what exactly Insight Data Science is and what they do.
Certainly, absolutely. I always love talking about what we do because I do think that we are changing the world. So, Insight Data Science was started several years back in 2014. Actually, even a little bit before that. But as a bridge between academia and the private tech industry, our CEO was himself doing a PhD in physics and realized that a lot of the tools that he was cultivating and leveraging in his daily research actually was the same as what data scientists were doing out in the business sector. So he came up with this concept of running fellowships to basically refine and fine tune a skill set that folks already have coming out of academia, but refining it for just a different scene. And so it's evolved since then. It's now expanded, and we actually do accept folks that aren't only exclusively coming out of PhD or postdoc programs, but that's predominantly still the market we serve. And we run 7-week fellowships where people have the opportunity to come in and work for 4 weeks on a real world project. Not to say that academic research is not real world, but something that has like a really tangible business value associated with it type project. And I would say they come in with probably 90 to 95% of the skills that they need. And then it's just, again, like recalibrating it. And then they spend 3 weeks getting to go out and demo for companies. And throughout that entire process, I am here as the coaching and development manager. So we also provide them with a kind of comprehensive overview of professional and soft skills. And I guess actually I should probably mention what our programs are. So we have 6 programs active at the moment. We're launching a 7th in March. And those programs are data science, artificial intelligence, health data science, data product management, data engineering, DevOps. And our 7th new program that's launching in March, like I said, is within blockchain or cryptocurrency, and we're calling it Consensus.
Okay. Very cool. Now, kind of leads back into a little bit of what you're doing. How did you find out about them, and how did you get into and find out about your current role?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually found out about Insight because I had a friend who was doing her postdoc at UC Davis, and she applied to Insight and went through the program as a fellow back in 2015.
Oh, cool.
Actually, so pretty early on in the company's life cycle. And I remember actually when she was moving down to the Bay Area to do the program, driving her around to like explore the neighborhood. And we stopped into this like place that she was going to do this fellowship. And little did I know that a few years later, I would be joining the team here. So it's been on my radar, but for a while, I just understood it to be much more focused on the technical side of those skills. I didn't understand the professional skills component that went into it.
Yeah.
And she and I stayed in touch, and she ended up introducing me to them. They had just decided, this was just over a year ago, to hire their first full-time professional skills coach. We had a couple others that had been promoted into those roles, but they were actively looking for somebody with a coaching background, and I have a life coaching background.
Yeah.
So I applied, and it's been a whirlwind, but it's been really, really great.
I picked you right up. It sounds like it was just a match made for perfection there.
Oh, honestly, it really did. I remember actually when Katie, that friend, she had sent me a job description probably 2 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more. And it wasn't quite there. It wasn't quite what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to, like I said, a little over a year ago when they were defining the role I'm in now, it felt like it was custom made. I love it.
Fantastic. So now it makes me really interested, and I'm glad it happens to be my next question. What does a day with Lacey look like? What do you have to do to get through to the end here?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's very cyclical work. So like I said, we have 7 week sessions and we
Yeah.
run those 3 times a year. But sometimes we have staggered sessions and we have new programs. So I was quote unquote like in session June through October of last year, and then I
Okay.
got to experience what it was like to be out of session just November, December before we launched in again. So when I'm in session, in any given week, I'm running and facilitating workshops.
Yeah.
I'm developing content and worksheets. I'm managing kind of submissions and tracking fellows' progress. I'm
Yeah.
doing one-on-one interventions and coaching.
Okay.
And it evolves. So like at this stage of the session, we're in the second week of a session at the moment. It is very much focused on how do I support this large group?
Yeah.
And then as we shift into weeks 5 through 7, it's more interview prep. I'll be doing a lot more one-on-one time.
Okay. So you really, every day can be different.
Every day can be can be wildly different. But I one thing to kind of mention here actually, so something else that's unique about my role is that I support all 6 of our programs. In the past, we had a slightly different role that supported individual programs and did a lot more administrative support along with the coaching.
Yeah.
So I'm a guinea pig in that not only is this the first time I was hired into a role that existed like this, but my role is scaling up
Yeah.
dramatically. So when I say I'm leading workshops, each session of or each workshop I run, which like let's say yesterday I did a workshop on business value and articulating business value.
Yeah.
I ran that 3 times with to about 50 people at a time.
That sounds like a lot.
It makes for long days, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
emotional labor, but I love it again. I
Okay.
really do.
Well, let's go a little more into, I'm glad we kind of covered inside data science and what they have going on, but what about you? What's your future? What are your aspirations down the road?
Yeah, also such a good question. So I'm a dreamer. I'm a visionary.
Yeah.
I love to think big picture. I've always got ideas percolating, but I really do feel extremely satisfied and gratified in the work I'm doing here at Insight. So right now I'm focused on like how to just continue to elevate Insight to be a thought leader in the professional development domain
Okay.
and not only provide fellows with the support they need while they're here for that 7 weeks, but throughout their entire career journey. And I think that that could unlock any number of like potential paths for me. But I do
Yeah.
ultimately, I'd like to have my own business, probably in the consulting sector. But the things that excite me around consulting are actually a lot around like public speaking and workshopping and facilitating. So it's in alignment with what I'm getting to do now, just on a even bigger scale, where
Yeah.
hopefully I'd be training and mentoring new coaches to do, even have an even greater scale of the work that's possible.
Okay. Nice. Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. So, we can always talk about the future, and that's a great thing. And part of the reason why I actually wanted to do this interview, because I did speak to Lacey a little bit before this for the audience out there, and about 2 minutes in, I felt like this was going to be someone that was going to actually, she's got the goal and the presence to actually make it happen. How did you get to there? So what I mean is, were there inspirations in your life? What really made you want to pursue the direction of ultimately entrepreneurship?
Also a good question. You just put me on the spot. Yeah.
You
I
don't have to answer.
for,
I just these are the good ones. It's the good
No, it
stuff.
is. Let's dig in. I always love going beyond the surface. And thank you for the compliment and the
Of
support, because
course.
I've been really happy to connect with you. Yeah, I mean, I have so many inspirations. I feel like I've been so fortunate in life
Yeah.
that my own journey has been very unorthodox. I would say is like the best word to describe it,
Okay.
in terms of like if you were to look at my LinkedIn profile, I've worn a lot of different hats in my career and
Yeah.
I've done a lot of very different things. And what's been really wonderful is I've always had the people in my life to mentor me and like help me recalibrate at any given time that I needed it. But when it comes to really thinking about entrepreneurship, I feel like that's a seed that was planted when I was very, very, very young. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My grandpa ran his own tree service company. My dad was an entrepreneur before he went into the tech sector. My uncle Wes, who connected the two of us, he runs his own company out in Phoenix and has
Yeah.
been a huge mentor and influence in my life. And even back to like my grandma also, she opened a coffee shop in Eufaula, Oklahoma as a divorcee in the 40s, which was actually after she passed and we were cleaning out her house, I came across a newspaper clipping talking about like the scandal of it all, of the
Holy
fact
cow.
that like this divorcee would think she could do something that bold. So I've been very fortunate that I've had these influences, and so I've always assumed that was going to be part of my journey at some point.
Okay.
And there have been times that I've tried to start businesses or thought about starting businesses, but it hasn't fallen into place. And at the time, it felt frustrating and like I wasn't living up to my potential. But I
Mm,
think one of the really exciting things that's been happening in the past 6 months, even just like really recently, is realizing that that's all helped me get to where I am
yeah,
now. And there's just nothing but potential ahead.
that's perfect. I think that goes to say a lot. Uh, even on my side, I'm kind of the same. It's been, there's been ideas in the past. There's been products in the past. I'm talking to patent lawyers now about a new idea that, we'll never really know until either it happens or it doesn't. But to the audience out there, again, the process is a beautiful thing, and most people neglect that. And that's another reason why I think Lacey actually has what she needs to make it happen, because I'm also slowly getting there as well, and every step leads to the top of the staircase, and people totally disregard that process and they think it can happen overnight. So I'm really glad you brought that up, because a lot of people need to understand that there is a definite path you have to take to get to your potential.
It's absolutely true. I think actually to piggyback on that, something else that's really helped me um, is for a while it felt like I needed to define a passion. And like
Mm-hmm.
until I found that one thing that I was passionate about, I wasn't going to be able to make a business happen.
Yeah.
And I actually feel like sometimes that can be a really overwhelming thing to chase, and passions change and they can be dynamic, and also you could be multi-passionate, right? Like you could have multiple passions. And so there's a career coach called Laura Sims that has done some work around purpose and a purpose paradigm and looking
Yeah.
for your purpose.
Yeah.
And that really helped me to reframe it, because when I started looking back at what felt like these very disjoint career steps, I started to see the commonalities instead of that was a failure or that was like me totally changing my mind, but really being able to distill down to like, oh no, that purpose has always been there. I just had to like figure out the right domain to apply myself to.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Well, actually, I kind of want to look that up now. I'm gonna write the note down. I'm writing.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She runs a program called Your Career Homecoming that I've never actually purchased or gone through, but I feel like just about everything she ever publishes on her blog is so spot
This
on
is
and has
fantastic.
definitely influenced my approach to my own career journey.
Nice, nice. All right, we're here at the end of it all here. I got one last question, and I'm gonna go a
Mhm.
little bit back to teaching, because I feel like that's some of your magic. Uh, in terms of soft skills, what do you believe is the most important soft skill today when trying to enter private industry or private business?
Ooh, distilling it down to one thing.
I'll give you two. If it's two or
Okay.
three, I'll let you jump into a couple of them. But if
All
you can
right.
make
Thank
one,
you.
that'd be fantastic.
I think that the like the umbrella thing is communication more so than anything else. And
Yeah,
that
well,
sounds potentially trite, but I just think over and over again, I see it being connections. That's what advances people's careers, right? It's not what you know, it's who you know. And the way that you know people is in the exchanging of stories. So I'm a huge believer in the power of storytelling and effective storytelling. I think whether it's going through an interview or pitching yourself for a promotion or networking, I mean across the board, the thing that helps us all understand our place in this world is hearing stories and then being able to own and tell our own. So I guess it's communication with like a caveat of storytelling.
Okay. I like the caveat because I think you're right. And now you even have companies coming out with CSOs,
Mm-hmm.
like the chief storyteller officer, and I'm super excited to see that shift in overall corporate dynamics, which is amazing. So,
I think so. And especially, getting to work with folks that are very technically oriented
yeah.
and, are used to kind of holing up and doing a lot of coding and building really cool things, right? But what I work with them on is like, how do you translate what you find is cool to people that don't know that technology, right? And that's in telling a story. So it's repeatedly, it's over and over again. And I'm excited to see that shift in the tech industry at large, or
Yeah.
just business at large,
Yeah.
embracing the idea of a chief storytelling officer. And who knows, maybe that's actually my future career
Yeah, that might
aspiration.
be
We'll
it right
see.
there, and it'll be us. We might all be listening to you on the big stage one day. So, well, everyone, that's Lacey Cope, Insight Data Science. Did you want to plug a few locations in terms of social media, real quick, or the website?
Yeah, so please check us out at insightdatascience.com. We do have an application process that's open right now. If you're interested in pursuing careers within data science or machine learning or data engineering, et cetera, I mean, come check us out. We probably have something that can help you just take that next step in your career. And if you, I should also actually plug locations too. We do have multiple locations. So I'm based in Silicon Valley, but we have programs running in Seattle, Boston, New York, and Toronto, our
Nice.
first international location, which launched in the fall. And we have a remote program. So even if you're not close to one of those places, we could still support you. So definitely check out Insight Data Science.
And to add on, in the description and such like that, we'll reduce the friction, and I'll have a bunch of those links on there,
Beautiful.
and we
Thank
will
you.
make sure that all works out. Lacey, I really appreciate you taking the time today in your busy schedule. She's basically gonna go back to another class, I believe, or something. I don't
I
know.
am running right into another workshop. It's true.
Jeez, awesome. All right, well, you have a good rest of the day, and thank you all for joining us.
Thanks. You too. Take care.
Bye.